Ah, this unit is so broken. Like KHUN EDAHN, this unit just impressed me so much. Like pairing him up without Belda, Gia Gia, Princess Anak, Awaken Rack, Chef's Kiss. Like just look at this madness. Dead immediately, bro. Oh my gosh. And then we look at the damage right here, 182 billion damage. I don't regret choosing this guy for the non-stop summon event. Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tower of God New World. In today's video, I wanted to give you guys a quick update on my KHUN EDAHN. So if you guys don't know already, from the non-stop SSR Plus summon event, I decided to choose KHUN EDAHN as the next SSR Plus character to max out. And as you guys can see, he is fully maxed out. And for his revolution, I fully invested in his revolution. I have his revolution tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm just leveling up the base notes for now. So overall, like, this unit is just insanely powerful with max dupes, and I'm glad that I picked him. And if I'm being honest, like, I feel like picking him versus Kaiser for my account was a really good option, because the thing that I realized about Kaiser is that she's a single target damage dealing unit. Like, she's focused on, single target damage, eliminating enemies one by one. Absolutely amazing. But for KHUN EDAHN, it's like this guy, he literally just one taps everybody so quick is just crazy. Plus, for his revolution tier 5, the fact that he's able to decrease the opponent's magic resistance by like 80% for 10 seconds is insanely cracked. You pair that up with any magic DPS unit, Trauma Ray, Punisher in. You pair that up with anybody, they can pretty much do some crazy damage because of this Revolution tier 5. So KHUN EDAHN is just an absolute menace. And bro, imagine his family head version. Like, once we get family head KHUN EDAHN, bruh, it's gonna be game over. Like, he's already broken for his data version, but imagine family head rarity KHUN EDAHN. I'm excited for that. So this is the build that I'm currently running for KHUN EDAHN. Now, some people might run the basic attack build. If we come back over here to Sundance, some people might run Sundance because he can actually do basic attack in his kit. So if I come over here to his skill, he can do basic attack. Like, if you come over here to his, I think it's his passive over here, you can find like basic attack. Actually, it's not there. I think it's around, I think it's this right here for the basic attack, somewhere around here. I completely forgot, but he does have basic attack involved in his kit, so he'll be able to, deal really great damage with the basic attack kit, with a basic attack initial weapon, alongside with attack speed set. Now, when it comes to his stats, I'm sitting around 171.4% crit damage, and then for crit rate, I'm sitting around 55.63% crit rate. Now, I am hoping for, like, in like a character in the future, let's say Caliban, for example. I'm hoping like we get a unit that can increase crit. Like, we already have Warren who can do that. There are some units who can increase a crit rate, but I really want a character that can amplify crit rate with like their ultimate. For example, they can provide additional crit rate through their ultimate. I feel like that's going to be very useful, especially for DPS characters, because if you have a character who's going to amplify your team's crit rate, let's say like 30% or 40% crit rate increase, you can focus on crit damage increase and you'll be able to do a lot of damage. So I'll say his crit ratio, like the crit rate and crit damage, they're pretty solid. I just have to build up the crit rate a lot more so that he can actually crit. And then for accuracy, we're sitting around 997, 976, swiftness 74, still trying to get to a 100. And then magic and physical resistance, it's pretty low because I made him as like I pretty much built a crit damage increase and magic pierce in his kits because I want him to do a lot of damage. I actually want him to one tap enemies. So that's pretty much the build that I am going for. Substats, I mean, I did get really lucky with this ignition weapon right here. We got like 15% of crit damage. For this one, we got, some magic resistance and some physical resistance. For this piece right here, we got some crit rate, magic and physical resistance, and accuracy. And then for this one, we got magic resistance, magic pierce. And then for this one, we got physical resistance, crit damage increase, and crit rate. So I will say the ignition weapons are not that bad. but I am gonna try to get better ignition weapons for him. But you guys already know when it comes to like leveling up ignition weapons, it's very, very hard. So I'm gonna stick with this build for a very long time, unless they implement like a new feature where you can level up ignition weapons a lot better, or they implement a feature where you can pretty much synchronize uh ignition weapons to new ignition weapons that you grinded for. Let's say you farmed in secret trial, like I think it's secret trial, I think that's what it's called, trial area. No, actually no, secret floor. Yeah, secret floor. Let's say you grind it in secret floor, you get an ignition weapon, right? Once you get that ignition weapon, and you can pretty much synchronize that with like a level 20 ignition weapon, but you can only do this like 2 or 3 times. I don't know, it depends, but hopefully they implement a feature where you can level up ignition weapons to level 20 a lot easier, because it is really hard. I'll say like the only time it's really easy to level up ignition weapons is when we have those events where they give us like 50 whetstones in the event shop. But other than that, it's like you have to wait for a whole month in order for you to get those 50 whetstones once again. So this is pretty much his build, and of course exclusive equipment is maxed out. So this character, man, insanely cracked, really, really good. And I'm going to show you guys some gameplay. Now for this fight right here, you guys can see that I have Albelda paired up with KHUN EDAHN. We got Chamaray up front with Garam and Princess Anat. By the way, Awaken Rack is extremely annoying. This unit is so frustrating to deal with because he deals crazy damage and he's tanky as hell. Like, he's just annoying as hell to deal with. So I'm going to replay this, and like I said, the best thing, like the number one thing I like about KHUN EDAHN is his damage. His damage and the fact that he's able to create a barrier that can block projectile attacks. I realized that the barrier that he creates, he can also counter KHUN EDAHN, not KHUN EDAHN, but Kunasensio's ultimate. When Kunasensio, when he summons those flying fishes, KHUN EDAHN can actually block that, which is kind of crazy. So if we end up getting Kunasensio in PvE in the future, KHUN EDAHN is definitely going to be a great counter to Kunasensio. But you guys can see right here, the amount of damage that Awaken Rat can take is crazy. But I think Chamaray died and then KHUN EDAHN was the only one alive. I don't know. But we were able to eliminate Awaken Rat thanks to KHUN EDAHN's Revolution Tier 5, which decreases the enemy's magic resistance by 80%, which is very helpful for units like Chamaray. Even in PvP, he is very strong. Now, I'm not really I don't really focus on PvP. Like, I don't make a lot of videos on PvP because it's just not that fun to me, to be honest. But like I said, if they implement that ban system in the future, that will be interesting. Definitely make some content on that for sure. But just really want to show you guys his strength in PvP. Now, I will say the meta for PvP, like, it's pretty much Chamaray, of course, and then units like Evankel. Like, AoE damage dealing units are insanely powerful in PvP because they can just deal crazy damage. And that is so hard is also crazy in PvP. But just look at Chamaray, man. Just absolutely one-tapping everybody and just dealing crazy damage overall. We go ahead and check out stats real quick. Got like 22 billion damage coming from Chamaray. Absolutely crazy. And Yiwa dealing 12 billion. So AoE damage dealing units in PvP are very, very strong, especially because of the Revolution a tier 6 buff, which increases their attack, magic pierce. Like, units like Yiwa, units like Evankel, Chamaray, and PvP are absolutely nuts. Now let's go ahead and do a couple stages right here in adventure mode, and let's go ahead and see what happens. So for the non-stop summon event, remember, I did recommend a lot of people to go for Kaiser. I feel like Kaiser was the default option because yes, she is a crazy DPS character. But if we're going to compare KHUN EDAHN and Kaiser, I do feel like KHUN EDAHN, in terms of damage, like with max investment, I don't know, man, he's just insanely cracked. Like, in my opinion, now, my Kaiser is at 3 purple stars, and she still performs very, very well. She can do really good damage. But I do feel like a maxed out KHUN EDAHN versus a maxed out Kaiser, she can do a lot more because she is a boss unit as well. So like, she's really a universal DPS character. Like, she works in any team comp, she works well against bosses, and she's really, really good in adventure mode and also in PvP. So Kaiser is just like a universal strong DPS character, but for KHUN EDAHN, I feel like he's a destructive PvE unit because his damage also scales off of the enemy's HP. Like you guys do know that for his ultimate, the amount of HP the enemy has, the more damage he can deal, which is actually cracked. So that's what also makes him really insane, is because his ultimate scales off the opponent's HP. And Trauma Ray died right there, but I'm not surprised because Data Uric. The reason why I say Data is because so many people think that I say Daddy Uric, which is crazy. So I'm going to say Data for now on. But I mean, just look at this madness, bro. Literally soloing Data Uric. And look at that. Dead. So I'm going to show you guys the skill description for his ultimate, so you guys can know exactly what I'm talking about. 182 billion damage, crazy. But it says right here, hitting the enemy with the lowest current HP to deal 60% of that enemy's max HP as damage. So he has HP based damage for his ultimate, which is insanely cracked. So I feel that's what makes him really, really good, is that he has that HP based damage. And what that basically means is that it doesn't matter how tanky the enemy is. Like, of course, if you're going up against units like Awaken Rack, it's going to be really hard to eliminate them. But it doesn't matter how much HP the opponent has. It literally says 60% of that enemy's max HP. He will always deal crazy damage because of this right here. It just makes him really, really good. All right, now for this team, seems like we're going to go up against a yellow team. We have KHUN EDAHN, Hats, also have that chicken guy. So we're gonna win this easily. We're gonna win this easily. Now for the next yellow element unit, now for this month we didn't get an SSR character, and I think the reason why they did that is because they are trying to fix the SSR problem, the SSR issue, and I think they're pretty much using this month as an opportunity to fix that problem. That's why they didn't really release an SSR character this month, which is understandable. I just wish that they actually told us that through the dev note, instead of just saying, yeah, we're just gonna release SSR plus characters for October and that's it. So I think that's the reason why we're not getting any SSR characters, is because they're trying to fix the SSR problem. And I think by the end of October, we are going to get the SSR. We're gonna have, like, I think an SSR, like, every limited character, not limited, but every SSR character we get, they're probably going to get their own banner similar to SSR plus characters. I don't know, but they did say that they are going to fix that problem. But when it comes to light element, I'm not doing this boss stage. It's going to take me a while to complete this. But when it comes to light element, I will say that Hats, at early deficit, like in the low deficit, he is really strong when it comes to dealing damage. And then at like mid deficit, he's a really solid tank unit. But I will say at like higher deficits, he tends to die a lot faster, and I feel like he's only useful against bosses because of the defense shred. Like when you look at this defense shred right here, this is very, very good against bosses. So I feel like for Hats, still a great tank unit, but at the same time, we still need a light element tank unit that can activate provocation, reduce defense, reduce physical or magic resistance, something very similar to Princess Anak. I feel like that would make light element insanely cracked paired up with KHUN EDAHN. I thought KHUN Essential was going to be that unit, but unfortunately KHUN Essential is more like a sub DPS type unit. So we're still waiting for a light element tank character, and once we get that, I feel like it's going to be very, very good for KHUN EDAHN, especially if that tank unit can shred magic resistance. That's going to be insane. But yeah, man, I just wanted to make this video talking about KHUN EDAHN. And if you're thinking about investing in this character, I say go for it. Like if you've been playing this game since day one and you're thinking about an SSR plus character that you want to invest in, and if KHUN EDAHN is one of them, go for it. Very, very powerful, and I don't regret choosing this character for SSR plus nonstop summon event. He is an absolute powerhouse, and I feel like the more units we get in the future, the stronger he becomes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.